Hello, friends, and welcome. We're going to practice a little bit of mindfulness just so we have a little mindfulness in our day, in our week. So find yourself with a long spine, preferably an upright posture, but do what you got to do to be here today. It's okay, right? You have permission if you need it. So support that long spine. For some of us, that's just a little bit of the muscles in our body to lengthen, right? For some of us, that might be using blocks or blankets under our hips, or if we're lying down, something around us, etc. But then there's potentially a whole lot of muscles or props you just put into place that you don't need here. So please use what you need, right? Always find the support that you need. But if, like me, you tend to try a little too hard, I'll say it that way today, maybe there's something you can soften. Maybe there's something you can let go of. And our eyes are going to stay closed for all of this, but I'd like to start with our awareness around our body. So we might be in a space we know well, we might be in a newer space, but chances are you saw it with your eyeballs, right? Before you sat down and started this mindfulness practice. So just have an awareness of the space. There's windows with light coming in. There are other beings or animals, plants, right? It's a wide open space. It's a fairly small space. Maybe you're outside. Maybe there are noises. So just take a few moments and without judging anything about the space, just observing the space around you without your vision. And some of those things are being filled in by memory. And just taking in the gift of the plants and the trees around us. And what I mean by that is every time you take a breath, that oxygen you're breathing in, right? That is a gift from the natural world. So just starting to notice that breath as it enters and maybe being thankful for this wonderful gift. And of course, every time we breathe out, us humans, we give a gift back to the natural world, that carbon dioxide. And if there's light, right, maybe there's light from the sun and that's coming from millions of miles away. You might take that in for a moment. Those of us in an inside area, right, with lights overhead, there's still fossil fuels from the earth that allow us to have that. So maybe being grateful to the earth, to the sun. The heat or air conditioning, right? If you have things that are making you comfortable, being grateful for those things and noticing them. And start to come back to that breath, breathing in that gift from the plants and the trees. And every time you breathe in, I want you to imagine that that prana, that vital life force, right, is coming in through the nostrils, and imagine it going right up between your eyebrows. So you're going to follow that, not with your eyes necessarily, but with your awareness, right? And every time you exhale, follow that energy back out, and that's toxins leaving your body. So every time you inhale, you're following that from the nostrils, from outside your body through the nostrils up to that space between the eyebrows. And every time you exhale, you're following that energy and those toxins from between your eyebrows, right? Down and out through the nostrils and outside of your body. And it's okay if your mind meanders. That's not a big deal. Just join us wherever we are when you come back. So we're focusing on that breath, that prana, that gift from nature, coming up through the nostrils to our third eye center. And with every exhale, you can imagine that any of those toxins in your body you no longer need, right, are moving out through the third eye center, out through the nostrils, outside of your body. The imagination can be quite powerful. And then next time you inhale and bring that awareness between the eyebrows, leave the awareness right there. That space just slightly above, but between the eyebrows. In yoga, we call this the Ajna chakra, third eye energy center. And this is one of the places of perception. There's a few different things, right? Intuition, insight, but I'm going to focus on perception today. So maybe as you move throughout your day, every once in a while, notice how you are perceiving something. Right? If you're thinking that it's a threat, it has a whole cascade of things happening in your body. So if there's something that gets you kind of, I'm going to call it excited. Sometimes excited in a positive way, sometimes excited in a stressful way. It's the same physiological reaction. It's how we perceive it, right? Which is so interesting to me. But so if you notice yourself moving towards that stress perception, maybe you can close your eyes, bring the awareness here, take a breath or two, and try to reframe it. Maybe you almost got into an accident, but you didn't, right? And you can just take a few deep breaths and try to literally shake the body and shake it off. But often, those stressors are not something we need to be in high alert about, but our brain has been trained to perceive them that way. So, can we start to play with perception? Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Inhale. Exhale, bow the head in, taking a moment of gratitude. Maybe setting an intention to just simply notice how you perceive things today, noticing when it moves you towards that excitement in a positive way, right? And when it moves you towards that excitement in a negative way, meaning that stress response. Again, they are the same physiological reaction. It's how we perceive the event. Namaste, friends. And just to throw out there a little food for thought, um, whenever you start to, even if it's just in your imagination, I'm just going to bring up an example of, I was just on an airplane, like the airplane going down. Your body starts to react as if that's actually happening. So we have so much possibility of where our nervous system ends up, right? if we perceive that thing, asking for a day off from our boss, and we're freaked out and we think that we're going to get fired, our body's acting as if that's happening, as opposed to thinking, gosh, I bet my boss would like to gift this to me, and I'm not going to lose my job, and whatever that is. But just like how we perceive makes such a difference. You want to talk about the mind body connection? You see something, right? And that, whether or not you're like go on high alert or whatever it is, goes directly to the pituitary gland, right? Which is kind of between the fingers here in the middle of the head. That pituitary gland then sends information to all of the other endocrine system, maybe not all of it, but the certain parts of the endocrine system, and tells them to start making chemicals, to either fight, flight, freeze, or to rest and digest, right? Those are the big ones we hear all the time, but there's a whole myriad of things. But I mean, it's like, like it's mind body connection every time we see something with our eyes. So perception.